Hello, hello, my emotional wisdom community. Is anyone out there? Say hello or wave at me to let me know you guys could hear me. How are we doing? How are you doing? Do share. Put your comment below. Let me know how your emotional compass responds to you. Hi, Michelle. Yeah, share down there how you're feeling. If you need a little help to understand how you're feeling, I would say close your eyes. Feel your full collective awareness sinking into your body. And ask, how are we doing? Don't look for the answer. Good, you're feeling good, Jose. Wonderful. Yeah. So if you don't really know, and you're the opposite of Jose, who knows? Close your eyes. Feel your full consciousness sinking into your body. And ask, how are we collective feeling? Don't look for the answer. Just allow the answer to surface to the top. Share how you're feeling. Today, I want to talk about self-awareness. What I'm noticing, and this is why I wanted to take the time to elaborate on this, but what I am noticing in terms of restoration, healing, integration, connectedness, what I'm noticing when we're trying to heal any trauma, any feeling, the number one thing one should do is begin to become self-aware. What do you mean, Josie? Self-aware could be kind of a big comment or topic, self-awareness. The way that I would invite you to begin strengthening self-awareness is by asking yourself, why am I the person that I am? What do I like? What don't I like? What do I prefer? Why do I do the things that I do? Why do I respond in the way that I do when these particular circumstances appear? Why do I respond like this? Why does that trigger me? Why does that person, place, or thing trigger me? Ask yourself those questions, especially when you are seeing a reoccurring emotion, when you are feeling a reoccurring emotion, when you are experiencing a reoccurring response from people. If a certain group or several different people are responding to you in a similar way, creating a similar emotion, triggering you to feel a certain way, ask yourself why. Why, when this happens, do I respond like this? Why, when those people come into my reality or come into my personal space, or why is it when I go here, I feel like this? Why is it when I hear that song, it moves me like this? Create a sense of intimacy with yourself. Creating a sense of intimacy with yourself creates awareness. You start creating forward movement as to why, who am I, what I don't like, what I do like, what I prefer, what I don't prefer. You get to know yourself deeper. Why am I elaborating on this? Why am I saying that when one needs to heal, one wants to heal a certain emotion, a certain trauma, a trigger? Why self-awareness should be the number one thing they should begin with? Because not just through me did I notice this, but I've been noticing this more often than not with all my clients. That if we're trying to heal a wound, for lack of better words, any wound that may be, any pain, if we go to a Reiki healer, or if we go and grab crystals, all that is amazing. All that works, indeed. Everything has energy, and it has properties, right? Vibrates in a certain frequency. Therefore, when we come in contact with whatever that may be, there's an exchange of energy there happening. But what we maybe bypass here, when we're only buying crystals to heal, and or we're going to Reiki healers, energy healers, and they tell us what our problem is, but just, put their hands over us and do healing, which is amazing, which it helps and give us that relief that we need. But then what then happens thereafter with time is that they create that blockage again, all over again. They're back in square one. They're experiencing that funkiness, that heaviness, all over again. Why? Why do you think that it's a temporary relief? I'll tell you my personal opinion and what my clients have mentioned and others in the self-help community. Why is it temporary? Because they're not getting the root of the problem. They're not understanding the stream of consciousness that they are stuck in. They're not understanding it. They're not being able to understand why they're behaving the way that they do, why they get triggered, why it does that particular situation pains you. Why do those outside reactions hold the capability to control you and rob you from your power? When you don't get to the root of the problem and you don't identify what is keeping you stuck in that stream of consciousness, you're only going to repeat it like a skip CD over and over and over. In fact, tends to get bigger. Yeah. You might temporarily put a Band-Aid on, find temporary relief, yet time passes and the mirror, the outside reality, the physical reality, as I refer the mirror, gets bigger. Whatever situation that makes you uncomfortable, creates discomfort when you witness it, gets bigger. Drops you even further down into a state of powerlessness. And then you go back and get temporary relief, maybe. Maybe it might not work anymore. Maybe you're at that place where it doesn't even work anymore. I got there. I did that. I speak from personal experience. When there's a moment, that fork, where you try everything, every Band-Aid, and it doesn't work. Because the problem got that big that it doesn't work anymore. That temporary relief, that energy work, that healer, that stone, sage, Palo Santo, frankincense, all those, which I love. I love my Palo Santo and frankincense and all that good stuff. I love it. But I'm also aware that it's a temporary relief. And if we are a match, and we don't heal, rather said, that core belief that's keeping us stuck, we're only going to create more of that same dysfunctional energy. And you're only going to be a match over and over and over to that same kind of boyfriend, that same kind of girlfriend, that same kind of friend that makes you experience what creates fear within you, what creates resistance over again and over. Why? Because that, or rather said, the inside of you, the fractured aspect, the one that's distorted, fragmented, traumatized, needs to be integrated. It's knocking on your door. It wants to be resolved. And what we're doing is running away from it over and over until we can't, right? Until it gets so painful and nothing works. Not even medicine. And then now we go into maybe drugs, alcohol, whatever that may be. Even then, alcohol only numbs so far, so much. So I'm very passionate. I'm very passionate, especially more than ever, to create awareness in the aspect of it first begins with awareness when it comes to integrating and healing trauma, childhood trauma, PTSD, any form of emotional distress that your body stored, that your nervous system has stored and imprinted. Hey guys, hola Ciel, ¿cómo estás? Hola mi gente que habla español, mi gente hispana, ¿cómo estamos? Le estaba comentando a la gente cuando inicié este video que me dieran saber cómo se sienten emocionalmente. A ver, coméntenme si todavía están mirando aquí la gente hispana. Comenten hacia abajo cómo se sienten. Cómo realmente se sienten. No cómo se quieren sentir, realmente. Si se sienten triste, que pongan ahí triste en el comentario. Si se sienten feliz, pues feliz. Bueno. Sigo en español o en inglés. Okay, guys, I'm back. I just wanted to acknowledge my fellow Latin community, Hispanic community. Have them share how they feel, right? How we're feeling today. How we're feeling today. So, as I was saying in terms of self-awareness, it begins with being self-aware. You begin the journey to integration, to healing, to mending, to restoring yourself through the process of becoming self-aware. Ask questions. Why do we feel like this? Why is it that we feel sad when we do? Why do we drop into depression? What triggers that? Why do I feel powerless right now? Why am I so angry? What part of this situation that I'm angry in do I feel powerless? What part of this situation do I feel I can't fix? Therefore is unworkable. Therefore, I'm powerless. Start with that. Follow the thread back. Back, 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 back. Try to get to the root of things. Awesome, Ociel. Try to get to the root of things. Trust me, there's a lot to unveil. Unpack that. Unpack that emotion, that circumstance, that person, place, or thing that makes you feel uncomfortable. Make a list. In fact, I will be doing a video in particular to the first one that comes into mind is, why do I attract that same kind of relationship? Similar. For example, I used to attract unavailable men that didn't want commitment. What did I realize when I started diving deep? I as well didn't want commitment. I was afraid of intimacy with another man. But it took me to become aware and understand why. I thought I was ready for a full commitment. But the inside of me, my core beliefs wasn't. My core beliefs was repelling any form of intimacy with men because I didn't feel safe. I didn't trust myself in that space of intimacy with another man. So what I'm telling you, I speak from personal experience, and also with all the clients I've been dealing with, they've all pretty much made it known. Wow. Being self-aware as to why I even respond to life in the way that I do has really shifted something. Really does something to me, in opposed to just going to a healer and getting healing energy done. Which it works. It's Band-Aid though. It's temporary. It's not permanent. Getting the root of the issue and transmuting it works permanently. Creates sustainability. Transmutes. Energy cannot be severed. Energy cannot be destroyed. Energy cannot just be rejected. Only transmuted. Could only be transmuted. Changed, transformed, but it cannot be severed. You cannot just say, oh, I don't want to deal with that energy, so I'm just going to get rid of it. It doesn't work like that. It has to be transformed, transmuted within. And that's how you create sustainability in your healing journey. It's by getting to the root and understanding why you have the patterns, the behavioral patterns that you do. Why you respond in the way that you do. That's how you create sustainable results. Like I said, I will be doing another video specifically on, and I keep on getting relationships, because relationships tend to be the number one catalyst for us to bring us to our own attention. Of course, you have obviously deaths, divorces. Any form of death also does that. Any form of death is also equally there. But relationships are the nugget. Why? Because everything is about relationship with a person, place, or thing. So if you have fear, trauma, resistance, if you don't know how to create intimacy or connect or connection with that person, place, or thing, it will affect everything in your reality, in your life. It will leak over to other areas of your life. For example, if you fear having intimacy, connection with the gender that you are gravitating towards, you have resistance connecting. It leaks over to everything else in your life. Yes, it'll be more obvious with the man, but it'll leak over. What you're ultimately saying is that you don't trust yourself with relationships. But you see it, you notice it. You become aware of it because you experience it in real time, right? You're like noticing, oh man, I noticed that I'm scared in relationships. I've noticed I can be vulnerable in relationships. I noticed that it's hard for me to just tell them how I really feel. That's how you notice that it's hard for you to be honest in relationships. And then people say, They know that they can't be vulnerable in relationships, but then they say, but I can tell my friend everything and anything, and my family. In the moment that I start asking questions like, well, what about your parents? Can you tell your parents the truth about how you really feel about them? Can you tell your sister and your siblings the truth about how you really feel about them? Oh, no, I can't. But yet you claim that you're open. So there you go. We then debunk the belief that you're only unable to be opened in a relationship with your significant other, but be open with everyone else. Nope, sorry. You just haven't made the correlation yet. You just haven't made the correlation yet that it's leaking over to all areas of your life. So relationship is important. If you don't have a safe relationship with people, persons, places, or things, you are limiting yourself. You are fractured. You are wounded. And it could potentially get more painful, more painful, and more painful with time, leading potentially to depression. Because depression, the leading cause is feeling alone, isolated. No one understands you. No one could ever possibly understand you. That's the leading cause of depression. Because something happened to you, you then believed, a core belief being no one could ever understand me because no one was there when you were little to help you understand yourself. And you're still in the state of confusion. So that echoes moving forward the kind of relationships you're going to be having with others. I invite you to become self-aware. Self-aware is the number one tool or step to understand your trauma, to understand pain and emotional distress. You are the observer. And when the observer, the conscious you, is able to witness and observe subconscious beliefs, unconscious beliefs and fractures, then now the observer is observing itself and observing the actual problem. By virtue of the observer or observing the problem, the discord, the energy that's fractured, distorted, for lack of better words, it then begins to transmute. Yes. When the observer is able to make note and observe and witness and see the problem, if you will, the fracture, the discord, the trauma, and where it began, and or sees the pattern of how you're attracting similar circumstances to create the similar feeling, once it becomes self-aware of itself, by virtue of that, it starts transmuting, starts shifting. So you are already creating a shift in your energy field, in that particular trauma, fracture, fragmentation, discord, however, whatever word you associate pain, it already starts shifting it when you become aware. So I invite you, become self-aware. Who am I? Who am I? Why am I the person that I think that I am? Why do I choose to be that happy person that wants to make people laugh? Where does that really come from? I know that I'm veering, but I feel called to do so. So I'm going to do this. When we are that person, that we tend to be comedians and so forth, we think we are incarnated with this personality. But in all actuality, that wasn't the case. What happened, just one scenario that I'm going to give you in terms of what could happen to where that person identified as a comedian, if you will, is when they were young and little, somewhere along the line, they noticed that by being funny, that by being clever, comedianish, was going to give him attention, or her attention was going to give her or him acceptance. Somewhere along the line, when they were able to identify as a funny person, class clown, and kept that identity because it gave him a reward, gave her a return of what? Whatever that person felt they liked out of it, whether it be attention, popularity, comfort, acceptance. So what happens is that they like that feeling. They like that feeling. I like being funny. I like getting that attention. So it ends up becoming a personality. So if you, who's watching this, identifies with a certain personality, ask, when did I begin embracing this aspect of me? Second question, what caused for me to choose to embrace it? Try to take it as far back as you can. Every situation is different because you have people that obviously, rightfully, and it's okay, as they're evolving, as they're growing, as life happens, they drop certain identities, certain things. I do it all the time. I change all the time. Hopefully, we're changing all the time. But if you are that person that has identified yourself with an aspect, with a characteristic, with a trait, with a personality, since you were little, something happened to you when you were little that you learned it benefited you to be that particular, to have that particular personality, trait, servitude. I'm not saying you're fake. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is we became who we are today by virtue of our life experiences, is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to repeat that again. We became who we are today by virtue of our life experiences. From age 0 in our mom's belly up to today's date. So imagine how we self-identified ourselves, or with what did we self-identify ourselves with from age 0 to 8. 99% of the time with our parents, obviously. We'd become self-identified with how our parents and what our parents mirrored back to us. That's a little perspective that I want to leave you with. If you don't know where to begin, ask yourself, what trait, play this self-awareness game, from the standpoint of what characteristic do I most identify myself with? Go back into something that you knew you were since childhood and start saying, when did I notice that was me? And start asking, did my mom or dad, grandpa, grandma, siblings, cousins ever reflected back to me positiveness when I became that trait, when I took on that identity? Was I embraced? I guarantee you that you were. You noticed that you were being embraced, celebrated, noticed, acknowledged, accepted, and the list goes on while you were wearing that personality. So that's a fun game to become self-aware. Embrace self-awareness. That is the #1 tool to begin your healing journey. Not just a band-aid or temporary, but for it to be sustainable. So you can transcend, transmute, transform, like that butterfly. We are meant to change. We are not meant to stay stagnant. We are meant to evolve and feel more alive than ever. Pain will always be a part of our journey. Pain is indeed our radar, our compass, that it's time to expand. It's time to integrate something that is hindering us instead of benefiting us. Just like nature. We are nature. All seasons. We die, we reborn to new. All the time. So let's embrace that instead of fearing it. Especially in these times of uncertainty. Let's embrace it. May you begin your self-awareness journey. And another video will follow in terms of relationship. Questions you can ask yourself so you can expand on this and play. With all the love and absolute full acceptance. Josie. Me despido, mi comunidad hispana. Pronto voy a hacer un video en español. Sé que me han pedido español. Yo también quiero hacer videos más en español. Simplemente, a veces me da pena. Digo, ay, mi lenguaje dominante es el inglés. Pienso en inglés. Entonces, traduzco la información de inglés a español. Y significa, pues obviamente voy a hacer errores considerando que mi lenguaje dominante es inglés. Tengo que superar, ¿verdad? Superar esa trauma de hacer errores durante el curso de mi comunicación con ustedes en estos videos. Pero los quiero mucho. Con mucho amor, paz en el corazón y aceptación absoluta. Josie.